All right, so you know how sometimes you find yourself going down those internet rabbit holes and you're like, wait, is that actually true?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Well, today we're diving into one of those classic DIY dilemmas. Does rubbing alcohol really kill bed bugs? I'm Mark Buzzes.
And I'm Anna Bugs. Nice to be back.
Now, we've all been there, right? You see a bed bug, you panic, you grab whatever's closest and think, this'll work. But before you douse your entire bedroom in rubbing alcohol, we're going to take a deep dive into an article from Simple Pest Management that really breaks it all down.
They do a good job of explaining the science behind it, too.
Yeah, so it's not just about, like, hearsay. It's about actually understanding how alcohol affects those little critters. So first things first, the article does confirm that rubbing alcohol can kill bed bugs, but like most things, there's a catch.
Right, it's not as simple as it might seem at first. The alcohol essentially dehydrates them. It disrupts their outer layer, the one that helps them retain moisture.
So it's not just about getting them wet with alcohol.
No, it's more about that disruption of their waxy coating. It's crucial for their survival. Imagine if our skin suddenly couldn't hold moisture. Not a pretty picture.
Yeah, not a good look. But okay, so if that's the case, then theoretically you could just spray everything down with alcohol and call it a day, right?
Well, not quite. You see, bed bugs are masters of hide and seek. I mean, they're tiny. They can squeeze into the tiniest cracks and crevices. Like, try finding one behind your baseboards or tucked away in your bed frame. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but the needle bites.
I can only imagine. And even if you manage to drench their hiding spots, there's another challenge the article brought up: bed bug eggs.
Ah, yes, the eggs. Those are tough little things, and alcohol isn't always as effective against them. Some of those eggs might survive and hatch later, and then you're right back where you started.
Oh, so it's like a ticking time bomb.
Exactly. And on top of that, there's the whole flammability issue. Using a lot of alcohol, which you'd need to be effective, is a fire hazard, especially near electrical outlets and appliances. Not exactly the safest DIY solution.
So, okay, alcohol alone isn't the magic bullet. So what does the article suggest as alternatives?
Well, they list a bunch of DIY methods like vacuuming, high heat washing for your bedding, essential oils.
Oh yeah, I've heard about those essential oils. Do they actually work?
It's debatable, but they can act as repellents. Tea tree oil and peppermint oil are popular choices. They also mention bed bug sprays and desiccants. Those work by drawing the bugs out.
And there's diatomaceous earth. I've seen that one online a lot. Is it the miracle solution some people claim it to be?
Diatomaceous earth is interesting. It's made from fossilized algae, and it basically works by cutting into the bed bug's exoskeletons as they crawl through it, causing them to dehydrate. It can be effective, but you need to apply it correctly, and it's still not a guaranteed fix for a heavy infestation.
Sounds kind of complicated.
It can be, which is why the article really emphasizes seeking professional help for complete eradication.
Oh yeah, they go into that a lot.
Yeah, they talk about heat treatments, encasements, and steam cleaning. These are things that professionals can do much more effectively and safely than the average homeowner.
So it's about more than just spraying some stuff around.
Exactly. Professionals can assess the severity of the infestation. They know exactly where to look for those hiding spots, and they have the tools and training to use these methods safely and effectively. It's like the difference between trying to fix your own plumbing and calling a licensed plumber. Sometimes you just need the expertise.
Makes sense. So it seems like rubbing alcohol might kill bed bugs on contact, but it's definitely not a foolproof solution. We've got to consider those eggs, the flammability issue, and the fact that bed bugs are masters at hiding.
Right, and if you're dealing with a full-blown infestation, professional help is probably the best way to ensure they're completely gone for good.
Agreed. Now let's dig a bit deeper into those professional treatments. What makes them so effective, and maybe even some preventative measures you can take. But first, a quick note for our listeners.
Welcome back. So before that little break, we were talking about those pro-level treatments for bed bugs. They really do bring a whole new level of effectiveness that's tough to match with DIY methods.
Yeah, those definitely piqued my interest, especially those heat treatments you mentioned. I gotta admit, the idea of basically baking my house to get rid of bed bugs sounds a bit, well, extreme.
It's definitely not your average spring clean. Think specialized equipment that carefully raises and maintains the temperature in your whole house. To a level that's lethal to bed bugs, of course, usually around 120 degrees Fahrenheit, even higher sometimes.
120 degrees. Whoa. Okay, so that's hot. But bed bugs are pretty resilient, right? Does that heat really reach everywhere?
That's the point. Heat penetrates deep into walls, cracks, crevices, all those hard-to-reach spots where they like to hide. And the best part, it targets all life stages, from eggs to adults. No survivors, breaks their life cycle completely.
Okay, so thorough, I get it. But what about my furniture and belongings? Wouldn't they get damaged at that temperature?
That's a common concern, absolutely. But professionals take a lot of precautions to protect your home. They know how to manage the heat safely and effectively. They'll tell you what needs to be moved or covered up, and they monitor the whole process closely. It's not something you'd want to try on your own, trust me.
Yeah, DIY heat treatments sound like a recipe for disaster. So what about those encasements you mentioned? How do those work exactly?
Encasements. Oh, they're like those zip-up mattress protectors you see, but way more heavy-duty. They're made from this special, tightly woven fabric bed bugs can't get through it at all. You completely seal off your mattress and box spring so no bed bugs can get in or out.
So it's like a bed bug fortress, but does that mean the bugs are just trapped inside then? Unable to bite?
Yep, that's the idea. Plus, encasements make it super easy to monitor the situation. If you see any bed bugs trapped on the outside of the encasement, you still have some straddlers, but at least they can't reach you. Good indicator of whether you need further treatment.
That's pretty clever. So it's both a preventative measure and a way to see how well other treatments are working. Okay, what about steam cleaning? That one seems more familiar, like a regular cleaning method. But how does it actually kill bed bugs?
Well, the high temperature of the steam is what does the trick. Kills bed bugs and their eggs on contact. It's like a targeted heat weapon. Really precise.
So it's not about steaming the entire room, just specific areas.
Exactly. Professionals know exactly where bed bugs like to hide. They'll use the steam cleaner to get into those cracks and crevices, along baseboards, behind furniture, you name it, anywhere those bugs might be lurking.
So it's not just randomly steaming everything. It's all about knowing where to target.
Right. They know how bed bugs behave. Plus, they have the right equipment and training to do it safely so you don't have to worry about damaging your stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. So from what we've talked about, it seems like a combination of all these professional methods would be the most effective way to say sayonara to bed bugs once and for all.
Absolutely. That's what makes professional treatment so effective. It's not just one thing. It's a multifaceted approach that they tailor to your specific situation. They don't just treat the symptoms, they get to the root of the problem.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. You've definitely shed some light on all the complexities of bed bug control and the value of professional expertise.
Happy to help. It's always good to remember that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to these pesky little critters.
Now, I'm curious, beyond all these treatments, what are some things people can do to prevent bed bugs in the first place? Let's shift gears and talk about some preventative measures. But first, a quick word. All right, so we are about to get into those prevention tips, but first things first, got to remind you guys to follow us and like this episode if you're finding it helpful. And of course, don't forget to check out Simple Pest Management on social media for even more expert advice. They really know their stuff. All right, so back to those bed bugs. What can people do to, stop these little guys from ever moving on?
Prevention is key, absolutely, and it all starts with being a savvy traveler.
Savvy traveler, I like that. So we're talking about more than just, checking the mattress for bed bugs.
Oh, way more. Think like a bed bug detective. When you're in a hotel room, inspect everything. Mattress, headboard, yeah, those are obvious, but check under the mattress, behind the headboard, even inside those nightstand drawers. Look for those tiny black dots, bed bug droppings, any reddish stains on the sheets. Or if you're really lucky, you might even spot the bugs themselves.
Okay, so it's all about being proactive. Got it. Now, what about when you get home from a trip? Anything you should do to make sure you haven't brought any unwanted souvenirs back with you?
Absolutely. First things first, as soon as you get home, wash all your travel clothes in hot water and dry them on high heat. That'll take care of any bed bugs that might have hitched a ride. And you can even go a step further, vacuum your luggage really well before you put it away.
It's like a luggage quarantine. Love it. Okay, what about furniture? Especially used furniture. That seems like a potential bed bug halen.
You're telling me used furniture can be risky, especially mattresses and anything upholstered. So if you're buying used, always inspect the piece super carefully before you bring it home. Check those same areas we talked about earlier, seams, crevices, under the cushions, and if you see any signs of bed bugs, walk away.
It's all about being aware, even when you're trying to snag a good deal.
Exactly. A little prevention can save you a whole lot of trouble down the line. Remember, bed bugs are resourceful, but they're not unbeatable. You can really minimize your chances of an infestation if you know their habits and take those simple preventative steps.
Awesome. So to wrap things up, rubbing alcohol, it might kill bed bugs on contact, but it's not the ultimate solution. We've got to be mindful of those eggs, the flammability, and the fact that bed bugs are expert hiders.
Right. And when in doubt, call the pros. They have the knowledge, the tools, and the experience to tackle those infestations head on.
Well, Anna, thanks so much for joining us today and for all these awesome insights. I think our listeners will sleep a little sounder knowing how to keep those bed bugs at bay.
My pleasure. Always happy to help people get a good night's sleep, bed bug free, of course.
And for our listeners, if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to follow us for more episodes like this one. And as always, be sure to check out Simple Pest Management on social media for even more expert advice and services. Until next time, sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite.